Hello my Foonatics, it's Fufu here and I'm back for more GBA D-league tournament battles. There were 2 more people to play in my group, so I thought I'd bring you both of those battles so you'll be able to see whether I do enough to get through or not. So this is very exciting and I hope you are in for the ride. You'll have seen my first video hopefully against Quinn. I fortunately beat him very strongly, so I was looking good, but I still had a lot of work to do. If I want to get through into the GBA D-league, I need to win this group, and that means preferably beating the other 2 people in the group, because then there is no question I will get through. If I lose to one of them, then it just depends on whether they lose too, or if they beat the other 2, then they'll go through. So I want to beat these 2. Willthemost was my next opponent, and if you remember, the setup is we each pick 3 OU Pokemon, 3 UU Pokemon, and 3 RU or NU Pokemon, and we can see the 9 Pokemon that they pick beforehand. And then we'll obviously just pick 6 of the 9 to battle each other. So, Willthemost, his OU picks were Mega-Manectric, Sylveon, and Latios. Mega-Manectric is a threat, and just to completely shut that down, I decided that I would bring a defensive Mew with the Will-O-Wisp. Mega-Manectric hasn't really got any coverage to hit Psychic types, so that works fine. It means that I have to take Mew out of the equation for anything else, but it's fine. Mew can concentrate on the Mega-Manectric, and then it's not a threat and I don't even have to think about it anymore. Sylveon was this next one. This one I probably didn't think about enough, but I have the Skuntank and that Poison Jab is going to hurt quite a lot. Sylveon isn't the most bulky on the defensive side, so hopefully I'll be able to do enough in terms of that. The next Pokemon is Latios, which is a huge threat to my team, mainly because it gets the Draco Meteor and the Psyshock. Now, I want to run AV Skuntank because it takes on the Latios better, it takes the special hits, and its Psyshock doesn't affect it, so it's not going to be hit on the physical side anyway. The issue is, I looked and did some calcs, and a Life Orb Latios' Draco 2-hit KOs even with the drops after the first one on a... Well, it has a chance to 2-hit KO on the Skuntank. Not a great chance, but it can, so that was a bit scary. So I was going to bring the AV Skuntank anyway because there is a nice Pursuit Trapper. If Latios kills something else, I can safely bring in the Skuntank and Pursuit Trap the Latios, but Latios is a huge threat. I was also going to bring the Snorlax so that I can maybe scout with the Snorlax and then switch into the Skuntank if I have to. But Snorlax can also Pursuit Trap, and both of those are basically Latios cover because it is scary for my team. Willthemost also picked Darmanitan and Suicune in his UU. I was going to bring my own Suicune to stop them, so I was going to bring a Rest Talk Scold Raw set, not the Calm Mind set. That's because Darmanitan, it doesn't like a Scold or a Raw if I've got the rocks up, and Suicune cannot set up. Suicune I'm not too scared about as long as I can keep its special defense boosts low, because then my Mega-Manectric can deal with it. So that was my thinking behind that. Raikou, not too scared of because I have the Lando and also the Mega-Manectric to stop the electric type moves, but if he plays that well, it could be a big threat, especially because my designated specially defensive mon are more tied up taking on the Latios. So that could be a problem. If it's a Subcar mindset, it could be a huge problem, but we can see how that goes. And then his RUs, NUs, Ambipom I'm not too scared of, never really too scared of it. I didn't think he'd bring it because he's already got a lot of threats. The Sharpedo, I've got the Suicune, which can completely stop that, and yeah, it's a really good set to take it on. And then Cress, again, I've got the Skuntank that takes it on really well. I put Crunch on my Skuntank just to make sure that I can, and I wasn't too scared of that either for those reasons. So, let us get into this battle. Looking at his team, I was surprised he hadn't brought the Mega-Manectric. And he had thrown me off, actually. I was expecting the Darmanitan too, but he brought the Sharpedo and the Ambipom, so I was a bit thrown off there. But the other things I kind of did expect, but it did throw me off. I was spooked when I went into this match. Anyways, I expected his Fake Out lead and went for my Intimidate Lando. It's a Scarf Lando, so I can U-turn out on the second turn. Do really nice damage, 43%, really good. And go into my Suicune, who at -1 attack Ambipom just can't touch. So now I'm going to go for a Scold as he goes for a knockoff, wanting to get rid of my lefty. He's probably seeing that Suicune is good against his team, but it is at the cost of his Ambipom because I get the burn and Ambipom can't do anything now. So he goes for another knockoff, not really sure why, probably just sacking. As I roar, I probably should have just scolded, to be fair. Don't know why I roared, because the Ambipom would have died anyway. So, but now the Ambipom's still alive, so that was probably a bit of a misplay. Sharpedo's crunches are doing nothing. He's not Life Orb. I was a bit scared if he was the Life Orb, because he would maybe just under 3-hit KO me, and if he got a defense drop, it would be very, very hairy. But he's only doing less than 25%, so I can easily take 3, rest talk, and it's fine. He doesn't threaten me at all. I'm going to sleep talk here, and maybe pull a Scold or a Roar. I actually get the Roar on this turn, I think. Yeah, I get the Roar, and unfortunately he goes into the Ambipom, which dies to its burn, so I don't have to worry about the Ambipom doing random U-turns or anything like that. Now he brings the Raikou. Obviously I can't stay in. I go into my Manectric, but with 2 electric immunities, he makes the good play. Goes for the neutral hidden power, which does way too much damage. He's obviously specced. Probably hidden power ice because he's an electric type, so thick, fat Snorlax can take anything that he wants to go for. I go for a Pursuit just to get damage on the Raikou, so that if he is a subset, I can stop that. But I think I'm pretty sure that he's specced. So it shouldn't have done that much to Manectric. Now I go into Suicune and go for a Sleep Talk to try and get the Roar. As I say, I'm just trying to keep the special defense boosts on the Suicune as low as possible because I want Manectric to be able to kill it. So I don't pull it that turn, but the next turn, because I'm going for a Roar, it means I stay asleep while he attacks, so he doesn't have any chance of burning me, which is great. Now the Latios comes in, and this is the thing I'm scared of. I go into my Snorlax to see what he's going to go for. He does go for the Draco, which I can take very easily. He's not Life Orb. That is very good news for me. And I can Pursuit with my Pod. He's already seen the Pursuit though, so he's staying in and attacking, which is fine. But I have got the Crunch on this guy as well, because I didn't want the Crest being able to do things, and Crunch was just quite a good coverage move on this Mon. He plays the Mind Games well on this turn. I go for a Pursuit. It doesn't do enough. And now he's probably predicting my Crunch, so I go for a Pursuit again, and I get him. And now he's on 8% as he switches out. If I get my Rocks up, that thing is dead. I'm going to take the opportunity as soon as possible, and I go into my Mew as the Sylveon sets up a Calm Mind, and I realise, wait a minute, Sylveon is a huge threat, and I can't play around with this thing. So backpedaling a bit here, I go for a Taunt, trying to stop him setting up any more, and he can't do any recovering or anything like that. So that's fine. Mew is able to get off the Taunt. It takes a lot of damage from the Hyper Voice, but I can also get up my Rocks. Seeing as though he didn't bring his Mega Medicham, I don't need Mew around, so Mew can go down, that's fine, and I could go into my AV Skunk, who is fine. Seeing as though the Latios is dead already and Skunk hasn't taken any damage, I can just use this thing to take out the Sylveon. The Taunt wears off, so he can protect and actually get to a range of health above where my Poison Jab will be able to take him out based on last turn's damage. However, min-max gods are in my favour this day, and I'm able to take it out with a slightly higher roll than last time. Now he brings in his Latios as a sack for no reason. That could have been Death Fodder saved, so maybe shouldn't have done that. And also, he brings in his Sharpedo. Again, not a great play because I do carry the Sucker Punch on my Skuntank, and even without the crit, that would have taken him out. So Skuntank put in a lot of work this match. Very, very powerful. I want to switch out on the Suicune because I don't want it setting up again. As I said, just need to roar out, get rid of the special defense boost, and I don't care that he's going to be going into the Raikou because at this stage I'm pretty sure that Mega-Manectric will be able to clear up. If he goes to the electric type attack, that's fine. And he goes for the Volt Switch, which is even better for me. It means I get a free switch into my Manectric on his Suicune, so I can just go for a T-Bolt. And if he switches into his Raikou, it will die from 2 and Rocks. So that is very, very good for me. So that's exactly what I do. And fortunately, that will seal the game. He does switch into his Raikou. If he stayed in, sacked his Suicune, he might have been able to get another kill with a hidden power or something like that. But no, it all worked out for me. I can take out the Suicune with another D-Bolt. And that's game. Thank you very, very much for playing Willthemost. You had a good team. You obviously prepared, but fortunately for me, I had just had some things that shut your team down really well. Suicune did its job great, stopping the your Suicune from setting up and then taking on the Ambipom and the Sharpedo. So it stopped a lot of things on your team, which was very fortunate for me. The Latios I dealt with much better than I thought I would. Sylveon was a threat, but because Latios had been dealt with already, Skuntank could be used for that, and it was very nice. So now I'm looking very strong. My win-loss ratio is 2-0, very good, and my differential is now plus 10, which is amazing for 2 battles. I'm really, really happy with that, but I still want to win this battle against Yeah, my next opponent. Now, just to give a bit of context, all of these battles were played on one day. I was on Monday, I had been into placement, and couldn't think of anything else other than the tournament, so I thought just getting my battles out of the way was important so that I could move on and focus on other things that were going on around me. So I wanted to get them done as quickly as possible. I prepared for Raikou, my first opponent, on the Sunday, and I prepared pretty well. I was very happy with my team. I then, on the Monday, throughout the day, have been thinking about my team for Willthemost, so that one I had put quite a bit of preparation into as well. My final opponent, Yeah, I just wanted to get the battle out of the way and maybe rush the team building a little bit, seeing as though I just did it straight after my battle against Willthemost and tried to put some things together. I was the first person to battle all of these guys, so I had no idea of their skill level, and it's quite hard going into battles like that, not knowing how your opponent's going to play. I'll take you through his picks very quickly. So his OUs were Sylveon, Scizor, and Weavile. Sylveon I knew was a big threat, and this time I was going to bring my Skuntank and also my Cobalion to be able to have 2 things to hit it super effectively, just to be a bit safer. Scizor was taken on very well by my Cobalion as well. Both of its stabs quad resisted, I believe, or maybe just single resisted on the steel, but yeah, Cobalion takes that on really well. And also I have the Mega-Manectric, which can come in and intimidate. Bullet Punch won't do anything, and I can outspeed with the fire type attack. So Scizor, not really very scary either. Weavile, kind of scary. Cobalion takes on its stabs well, but it can have the fighting type coverage, so a bit scary about that. And I didn't really have, I was considering putting Vacuum Wave on a Mew set, but I didn't think it was worth it. Especially, yeah, I just didn't think it was worth it really. So that could be threatening. I do have the Mega-Manectric again though, so I could fire type attack it potentially. Then he has the UU picks, which are Espeon, Mega Aerodactyl, and Shaman. Espeon can deal with that with Skuntank Pursuit trapping it. Mega Aero, a bit more of a problem. He gets great coverage and he outspeeds my flipping Manectric, so I can't electric type attack him, which is annoying. Landorus-T with a Scarf should outspeed, and I have the rock type coverage on that. But I decided, just as contingency, I decided to put Thunder Wave on my Mew just to cripple this Mega Aero. I thought that was a good enough use for Mew, as well as some other utility things, but I really wanted to do that because Mega Aero was very scary. It could have Ice Fang for my Lando, it could have all sorts, and I was scared of it. Shaman, again, quite scary that it's offensive, but I decided to run AV Tangrowth, and Shaman would not be able to touch that particularly. I put HP Fire on my AV Tangrowth, nice regenerator and stuff, so I thought that would be good for the Shaman. Then his RU pokes, he had Steelix and Gastrodon and Quillfish. I thought that he would definitely bring the Gastrodon because it stops my Volt turning, and also it stops my Suicune. If I bring my Suicune and run Crocoon, Gastrodon just completely stops that. So I thought he'd bring Gastro over anything else. Maybe, and then he's got the Hazard, so I wanted Defog on my team, so I think I put that on Skuntank. So that was my thinking. But then looking at his team, he didn't necessarily bring all the things that I thought he would. So he had brought the Mega Aero, he brought the Shaman, he brought the Sylveon, he brought the Weavile, thought he would do that, and the Espeon, but he didn't bring the Gastro, he brought the Steelix. Steelix I'm not too scared of. I actually put Fire Blast on my Skuntank for that, and I have the fire attack on my... In fact, I think everything hits it super effectively, because my Mew, I wanted to be able to take out the things that stop my Volturn, i.e. the 2 ground types. So my Mew had Energy Ball for the Gastro and Flamethrower for the Steelix. So I did have everything had something to hit Steelix with super effectively. The only thing that wouldn't be able to do too much damage to it, ironically, would be the Landorus and the Cobalion, which are the ones with the stab super effective moves, but it's because they're physical attackers. But other than that, I wasn't too scared by his team. It just depends on how he played. I decided to lead with my Cobalion, and that turned out to be a really good lead. My Cobalion did have the rocks, which is why I led with it, but he started with a Sylveon, and I just go straight for the Iron Head knowing that it's a threat. As he goes into Espeon, I get a crit, but probably didn't matter too much in the long term because I go into my Skunk, it takes it out with a Life Orb, but at that stage he was Pursuit Trapped. So I'm not sure how much it mattered because the Sylveon was dead anyway because it was Pursuit Trapped. Then he goes into Mega Air. I switch into my Lando, wanting to get the Intimidate off. He actually has the Tailwind, so he would still outspeed me on the next turn, but because of the Intimidate, he switches out. And I miss a Stone Edge, which is actually quite crucial towards the end game, and you will see why. Anyways, I go into my Poobs, which is my AV Tangrowth, and I'm just going to go for a Giga Drain as he switches into Weavile, and that does really good damage, but he goes for the Swords Dance, and I realise, oh, crap. This is not good. I could go into my Cobalion here, but if he's got the fighting type attack, I don't want to take the damage. I go into my Skunk. This is a misplay. Sucker Punch is not quite enough to take it out. I was really hoping it was, but it wasn't. And Skuntank was so good against the team. I'm so annoyed I did that. It takes on the Sylveon. It takes on the Steelix with the Fire Blast when it gets a bit more damage on. It takes on the Shaman. I should have kept it. It would have done better than Cobalion. Anyways, I go into my Lando because it's the best switch in here, and I just get an Earthquake off on the Steelix as he sets up his rocks. Now I go into my Mew, which does have the Flamethrower, as he switches into his Aero, and this is a great opportunity for me to T-Wave the Aero. I think he was quite happy to try and get a crunch off on my Mew, but I am perfectly happy with him doing that because my Mew isn't particularly helpful for anything else on this team other than the Aero and maybe the Steelix, but as I said, I've got lots of coverage for the Steelix. Now, I can Mega with my Manectric and Volt Switch on the Aero. If he wants to go into the Steelix, he dies to a Fire type attack, so I can just Volt Switch on the Aero. And I decide to go into my Lando. I'm not going to get my Intimidate on anything, which is a bit of a shame, as he makes a good play and goes into his Steelix. I know that I can't kill it with an Earthquake here, so I go for a U-turn, and I go into my Cobalion, and this is just awful. He gets the fucking Body Slam Para, and that is huge. You will see why that is huge. That is so fucking annoying. Anyways, here I go for a close combat. Luckily for me, because I'm slower this time, I don't get the minus defenses before he hits me, but I would have lived if I had and then been able to kill in the next turn. Actually, not having the power would have been beneficial there. I switch now thinking that he'll go for another Earthquake, which he does, and I make a good play here. If I'd gone for Earthquake, that would have been terrible because he goes into a Shaman and he would have had much more momentum, but I do make the good play, go for the U-turn predicting that, and I can go into my Manectric to threaten with a Fire type move. I do go straight for the Fire type move as he switches out into the Sylveon, and that does absolutely nothing, and I'm realizing now this is a especially defensive Sylveon and I need to take it out with one of my physical attackers. And here I have to Volt Switch into my Cobalion because it is paralyzed and can't do anything. If the Cobalion was not paralyzed here, I would sack my Landorus and win with Cobalion at this stage because I could take out the Sylveon from there, I could take out the Steelix, and the Shaman I was told was specially defensive, so I would outspeed that and take that out with a physical hit too, because apparently that was specially invested as well. So anyway, he can take out my Lando, but I thought that I had it here because I did enough damage to the Sylveon to where, even though it's especially defensive, a T-Bot will take it out from the Manectric. So I'm going to try and clear up here, go for the T-Bot, he goes into the Steelix, so it's fine, my Flamethrower takes it out from there. I can take out the Shaman with a Fire type attack and take out the Sylveon with a Thunderbolt. Well, that was my thinking. But this fucking Shaman manages to survive my Flamethrower. And I don't know why it's got a Citrus Berry, but it does. And then it goes for the fucking Healing Wish and manages to get Sylveon back at full. And that plan was executed so well. Yeah, did play that in-game very well and was able to take out my Manectric. But oh my god, I was I was shell-shocked. I just didn't see that playing out like that at all. I thought my Manectric could clean up. If my Cobalion had not been paralyzed, it would have been able to take on the rest of his team. He told me that the Shaman was invested in HP and special defense, which is why it could take that Flamethrower. So my Cobalion would have outsped it and would have been able to take it out with a close combat. I could have taken out the Sylveon with an Iron Head. I would have been able to take out the Steelix with a close combat. So that Body Slam, that fucking Body Slam, 30%. lost me that match. Also, if you remember, I did miss a Stern Edge on the Sylveon earlier, so that meant that the it would have been killed when I had Earthquaked it with the Landorus before, so it couldn't have Healing Wished into it. So anyway, all of these things, the match just did not go my way. Yeah played it really, really well. He did a great job, and I was just unfortunate. It was a great game, very close 1-0, but it meant that he won a game and I was now 2-1 win-loss ratio. Yeah hadn't played any of the other games. I felt that he was a better battler than the other two in my group though, and so I felt like he stood a good chance of beating them and going top of our group and going through instead of me into the GBA D-league. So it was bleak times for me then. My differential was still great though. I was +9 even though I had lost one of my games. So if Yeah lost either of his games against Raikou or Willthemost, I felt like I was going through. In fact, I definitely was. Yeah, I was definitely going through if he lost one of them. So that's what I had to hope for, and in my efforts to try and get my battles over with and not have to think about them anymore, I was left worrying even more about whether Yeah has battled his matches or not. So I was even more distracted the following 2 days as he was doing his matches. He first played Willthemost, who I would beat 4-0. So I had actually done worse against Willthemost than Raikou. So I thought that Willthemost was potentially a better battler, but Yeah beat him, so I was even more worried because that only left Raikou, and I wasn't sure whether that would go Raikou's way or Yeah's way. Looking at the teams, Raikou had a definite team advantage, but whether he could capitalise on that, I wasn't sure. He had the Mega Venusaur, which took on Yeah's team really well, and in the battle, it turned out Raikou played his heart out. He did so well, and he made sure that the matchup really played in his favour. The only things that could touch Mega Venusaur would be Mega Aero with a flying type attack and Espeon with the psychic type attacks. But yeah, Raikou preserved his win conditions, played really well, and actually beat Yeah 4-0. So fortunately for me, I managed to get through to the GBA D-league. I am so happy about. I'm really hyped for this. This is something that I'm so excited to sink my teeth into. So I progressed out of the group stages now. What is going to happen is we are playing a single elimination tournament now against the other people who have come top of their groups to see where we are seeded, and then we're going to draft our Pokemon for the league itself. I will probably do a bit more of an explanatory video about how things are going to work from there, but all I'm going to say for now is I am in the GBA D-league with some awesome people like Frank Trode, Miguel or Mega Mogwai, Roger Rabbit, just loads, John Origins, you've seen him on my channel recently. Yeah, loads of really cool people, and it's going to be very, very exciting, so get hype for it. This is going to be on my channel. You are going to love it, I promise you. So yeah, that's happening. Look out for that. Please let me know how you think these battles went, whether you think I did anything wrong or could have done anything better to cover for the teams. Other than that, I've been Fufu, you've been awesome, and hopefully see you next time. Bye.